On the broadcast tonight, reopened. With students returning to campus, WIBS has decided to reopen its doors. What students can expect. Under fire. As the CDC announces new guidelines for schools, teachers and parents are in an uproar. What government officials are now saying. And the dog sledding business, it's not just for Alaska anymore. That and more, our coverage begins right now on SUTV News. Good evening and welcome to SUTV News. I'm Brady Fisher. Last night, popular Shippensburg bar WIBS had its grand reopening. The bar, which first opened in April of 1989, is a popular weekend destination for Shippensburg students over the age of 21. WIBS has had its doors closed since the pandemic began last March, with the exception of a small reopening in July that didn't last very long. In order to meet the guidelines that were put in place by Governor Wolf, WIBS is serving food for its customers for the first time. Customers can enjoy $1 hot dogs or a whole pizza for $10. WIBS is currently limiting its capacity to 68 people and all guests must be seated at a table. Two Shippensburg professors are teaming up to take on the hottest topics on a new podcast. Titled Utterly Moderate, Dr. Allison Dagnes and Dr. Lawrence Eppard hope to use their expertise to bring people together again and promote bipartisanship and peaceful conversation, in what they are calling the opposite of cable news. Megan Talley has the story.
And now we think that it is reaching a real fever point. And so this is kind of our tiny little way of saying, no, we can talk about things in a reasonable way. And not scream at each other. And if we can model that, then maybe more people will do it.
With a sharp divide in our country's political system, Dr. Dagnes and Dr. Eppard want to bring both parties together through their new podcast, Utterly Moderate. Twice a month, the two professors use their research and expertise to bring unbiased conversations on key issues such as healthcare, climate change, social justice and cancel culture, and more. Both want to use this platform to unify those in divided households and communities, especially after the anger and frustration the past 5 years have brought, and doing this by not using commentary found on some more biased news channels.
But if you get rid of all of the loud, yelly stuff and come up with just the facts, then people can actually have more reasoned discussions about this.
I don't know that we have an answer, but this is just us sort of clawing our way through this, trying to get the poison out of the system.
Each episode of the podcast features special guests both here in Shippensburg and across the country, including SU's own Stephanie Gerard and Emily Cloyd from the American Association for the Advancement of Science.
It further emphasizes the real big research that's being done away from us so that it doesn't look like our finger is on the scale.
We are going to go where the data tells us to go. It's who's doing the best research on this, who is doing, is cutting out all the bias, cutting out all the emotions. But when it comes to studying problems like this, that kind of laser focus, I think, is important, and we're trying to do that. But this is up there. I mean, this is a major problem, and it's not going to go away by itself. And I have no idea how to fix it, but you can't say that we aren't trying to help.
You can listen to the first 4 episodes of Utterly Moderate wherever you may get your podcasts. And for more information and resources from Dr. Eppard and Dr. Dagnes, you can visit utterlymoderate.com. Reporting for SUTV News, I'm Megan Talley.
With the wintry weather this past week, SUTV's Carmine Chicatano spoke with first responders about crashes during winter weather and how to avoid them.
Last Thursday, 133 vehicles collided on an icy 1-mile stretch of highway in Fort Worth, Texas. 6 people were killed and 65 were injured in the early morning accident caused by the icy roadway. While travel restrictions and many people working from home has been able to reduce the number of accidents, heavy snowfall has been keeping first responders busy. According to Chief Larry Reist of the Rescue Fire Company in Harrisburg, worn tires are a leading cause for winter weather accidents.
So a lot of times the accidents that we see are caused by, worn tires or vehicles that just aren't ready for the winter weather.
Another leading cause of winter accidents is speed, according to Mount Carmel Township Captain Jordan Klimas.
We here at the Strong Fire Company just would like to remind everyone to take your time, slow down with the inclement weather. It's very easy just for a little bit of snowfall for roads become slick and hazardous.
So if you must go out, please take your time. No destination is worth getting into an accident. For SUTV News, I'm Carmine Chictano.
The CDC has published new guidelines on how schools can reopen safely during the pandemic. But the new guidelines are causing headaches for students, parents, and teachers nationwide. SUTV's Jacob Hitz has more.
The CDC announced on February 12th that changes would be made to their guidelines on reopening schools. Since then, political officials have been hounded by questions and have struggled to answer them. The old guidelines used test numbers over a 14-day period, examining new cases per 100,000 people in the population. Lower-risk schools saw anywhere from 0 to 20 cases every 2 weeks, while higher-risk schools saw anywhere from 50 to hundreds of cases every 2 weeks. The new guideline shortens the time frame from 2 weeks to 1 and removing the lowest transmission category. Low transmission schools see anywhere from 0 to 9 cases a week per 100,000 people, while high transmission schools see at least 100 cases a week. Schools should only close in a last resort scenario after all other mitigation measures are utilized, and in-person instruction should be prioritized over extracurriculars and sports. A major focus of the new guidelines is on vaccines for teachers, but the CDC states, quote, access to vaccination should not be considered a condition for reopening schools for in-person instruction, end quote. Only 22 states have begun vaccinating teachers, including Illinois and Colorado, as states determine their own distribution plans. Pennsylvania lists teachers under Phase 1B, meaning many are still waiting for their vaccine. White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci spoke about vaccines on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
Part of that is to indicate and to suggest strongly that a preference be given to teachers to get vaccinated. So vaccinating teachers are part of it, but it's not a sine qua non. It's not something that you can't open a school unless all the teachers are vaccinated.
Vice President Kamala Harris faced tough questions on the Today Show on Wednesday morning, grilled by Savannah Guthrie over the question of vaccinating teachers.
Assure teachers who are listening right now that it is safe for them to go back to school, even if they are not vaccinated, if these public health measures like distancing and masks are being implemented.
Teachers are critical to our children's development. They should be able to teach in a safe place and expand the minds and the opportunities of our children. So teachers should be a priority along with other frontline workers, and we're going to make them a priority. I believe that up to 22 states, I believe, have prioritized teachers in terms of vaccinations.
But if they're not vaccinated, is it safe for them?
Well, I think that we have to decide if we can put in place safe measures. It's going to be safer for our schools to reopen when we can get our schools the infrastructure needs, like helping them with their ventilation systems, helping them create social distancing with barriers, the things that are necessary to get them back open in a safe way.
While this vaccine has been in circulation for more than 2 months, many Americans are still waiting, and officials say it may be until July until anybody can have access to the vaccine. For SUTV News, I'm Jacob Hitz.
Rush Limbaugh, the conservative radio host who changed the ways of talk radio, has passed away after a year-long battle with cancer. Limbaugh's passing was announced by his wife Catherine on Wednesday. Beginning 32 years ago, the Rush Limbaugh Show set the standard for political talk radio, and it was through this show that Limbaugh became an icon within the GOP. He ran into controversy throughout his career, most notably when he had to formally apologize to actor Michael J. Fox for accusing him of exaggerating his Parkinson's. Rush Limbaugh was 70 years old. No matter what party you side with, there's no denying the impact Limbaugh had on the political world, and our condolences go out to his family. New Zealand has remained one of the few countries to have a hold on the spread of COVID-19. However, 3 new cases have shut down one of its biggest cities. SUTV's Adam Beam has the latest.
The city of Auckland, a city of more than 2 million people and the largest city in New Zealand, has gone into a citywide lockdown after 3 COVID-19 cases were reported. To be more specific, the variant of the disease is the recent UK B1.1.7 strand that is slowly making its way across the globe and is believed to be more transmissible than other variants. Officials were quick to act as the shutdown lasted 3 days beginning this past Sunday, resulting in large lines at several supermarkets and convenience stores in order for people to stock up on supplies in the event the shutdown would extend to further days.
We are wanting to be very cautious, and so that's why we've taken this cautious approach of asking Aucklanders to move into level 3 for the next 72 hours, and the rest of New Zealand will be at level 2. Basically, what we want people to do is stay home.
It should be noted that the lockdown in Auckland is the first large-scale lockdown the country has had in 6 months. In fact, New Zealand has remained one of the top countries when it comes to containing the spread of the virus. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the country has only seen a total of 2,230 positive cases, as well as only 25 reported deaths in a population of nearly 5 million. On the bright side, however, no new cases have been reported since the initial 3 reports. However, as a precaution, the country's COVID-19 alert has been moved up to a level 2, and these new cases have put a halt on Australia's arrangement to allow New Zealanders to enter the country without the 14-day quarantine period. Things, however, could be looking up for the city as the 3 have now all tested negative, and the first wave of COVID vaccines have arrived in the country. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.
Up next in entertainment, Meghan Markle is pregnant again, and we look at the new trailer for the upcoming Cruella movie. But first, let's get a check on the weather with SUTV's Tyler Danceson.
It seems like Chip just can't get a break from the snow and sleet, but I can assure you that next week the sun is coming. Tomorrow we see temps below freezing, but you'll still be able to get a great serving of vitamin D. On Sunday, the sun keeps up and is going to be shining bright with temps in the mid-30s. Now on Monday, there is a chance of snowy weather, but temperatures the rest of the week will get rid of any accumulation that we get. Tuesday and Wednesday, we have partly cloudy skies with temps in the mid-40s and low 50s. Thursday is going to be just like the previous 2 days with cloudy skies with a high of 45. Kicking off the weekend next Friday, we can expect a slight chance of snow showers with a high of 37 and a low of 27. With all these temperature changes, I can't imagine I'm the only one hoping that spring comes soon. For now, we will just have to throw on our snow clothes and pretend that we're in Antarctica. That's it for this week's weather. I'm Tyler Danceson. Now let's send it over to Marley Baldwin with this week's entertainment.
Disney will be throwing another villain in the spotlight. The studio released a trailer for their new film Cruella last Wednesday. The film will feature Emma Stone playing the classic villain from 101 Dalmatians. Set in a 1970s era London, this new adaptation will uncover the villain's origin story in which he starts off as a fashion designer. This is not the first time that Cruella de Vil had been brought to life. The character was previously played by Glenn Close in a remake of 101 Dalmatians, released in 1996, and its sequel released in 2000. Close had been brought on to serve as an executive producer for the new film. Cruella is currently set for a theatrical release on May 28th, and it is currently unknown if the film will be able to be streamed on Disney Plus that same day. The Game of Thrones couple Rose Leslie and Kit Harington welcomed their new baby boy this past week. Leslie first announced her pregnancy after doing a photo shoot in September with Make magazine that showed off her baby bump. When speaking to E! News about expecting, the couple had said that they were, quote, very, very happy, end quote. We wish them all 3 of them the best. After 3.5 years, Kendall Jenner has officially announced that she is launching her own tequila brand. Jenner's brand, 818, has already won several awards anonymously at the World Tequila Awards. While Jenner and her team seem excited about the announcement, some fans are not. On Twitter, users are accusing the supermodel of cultural appropriation, claiming that the industry is already underpaying and exploiting workers, while others have somewhat defended Jenner, saying that there is nothing wrong with her specifically owning a tequila brand. They also pointed out that other non-Mexican American celebrities also own brands, such as George Clooney, Nick Jonas, and Dwayne Johnson, who never received backlash after announcing their brands. Neither Kendall or her representatives have come out to address the comments. Netflix has recently added another hit show to their library of content. The popular Nickelodeon show iCarly was just added to Netflix on February 8th, and fans of the show have made sure to put iCarly into the top 10 stream shows of the past week. iCarly follows 3 middle school kids, Carly, Sam, and Freddie, as they launch a web show that becomes more popular than they had imagined. The show originally ran on Nickelodeon for 6 seasons from 2007 to 2012. A reboot of iCarly was announced for the streaming service Paramount Plus, which is currently in production with some of the original cast returning. But for now, fans can enjoy seasons 1 and 2 of iCarly on Netflix. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are expecting their second child. The couple shared a black and white photo this past Valentine's Day that featured Markle's baby bump. The announcement comes just months after Markle revealed that she had a miscarriage in July. The former royal couple welcomed their first child, Archie, in May of 2019. The family recently moved to Montecito, California, where they are expected to stay for the remainder of the pregnancy. The happy couple has not yet shared the due date or the sex of the child. Stephen King just announced that he'll be putting out his next thriller just in time for the summer read you've been needing. The novel is called Billy Summers and is about decorated war veteran Billy Summers, who became one of the best killers for hire, only attacking people he believed were truly evil. After years of killing, he decided it was time to step back, but only after taking one last job. Billy teams up with what is being called, quote, one of the most compelling and surprising duos in King fictions, end quote, to avenge the crimes of one who is seen as extremely evil. You can join Billy August 3rd when the book is released in audiobook, paperback, and hardcover format, or pre-order it ahead of time to be sure you can get in on the event when it starts. And that's it for this week's entertainment. Let's send it over to Patrick Ramsdale with this week's sports.
The Daytona 500 has come and gone, and SUTV's Jacob Pitts has the recap of the 63rd running of the Great American Race.
Green flag, the 63rd Daytona 500 is underway.
That sound is music to my ears as NASCAR is back on track with the first Daytona 500 since the COVID-19 pandemic began. Let's skip ahead to lap 14. The drivers get too aggressive too early, and 16 cars go sliding and slamming into turn number 3. Christopher Bell gets a big shove from his teammate in the 18, Kyle Busch. Nowhere to go but into the back of the 10 of Eric Almirola. He gets sideways, up the track he goes, into the pole sitter, the 48, Alex Bowman, and almost half the field piles on in. Eric Jones in the 43, Kurt Busch in the 1. Outside pole sitter William Byron gets involved, the 12 of Ryan Blaney, and a whole lot more wind up in the dirt in turn number 3. Lightning near the track and eventually rain caused an almost 6-hour-long red flag, but by 9 p.m. the cars were back on track. Let's skip ahead to the final lap. Joey Logano in the 22 leads. Brad Keselowski in the 2 behind him. Here comes the 34. Michael McDowell gives the 2 a shove, and they all wreck. Keselowski winds up in the catch fence with a giant ball of fire in turn number 3. Escaping the carnage is McDowell. He picks up his first career NASCAR Cup victory. Meanwhile, Keselowski's car and Logano's car sit wrecked in the infield of turn number 3. Here's McDowell with his thoughts post-race.
I just can't believe it. Just got to thank God. So many years just grinding it out, hoping for an opportunity like this. Got to thank Love's Travel Stop, Speedco, Bob Jenkins for giving me this opportunity. I'm so thankful. Such a great way to get a first victory at Daytona 500. Are you kidding me?
For SUTV Sports, I'm Jacob Hitz.
NASCAR is back at Daytona this weekend to run the road course. Green flag for the Cup Series is just after 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon on Fox. Retired NFL wide receiver Vincent Jackson has passed away. The 38-year-old star was found in his hotel room in Florida on Monday after checking in there a month prior. His family had previously filed a missing persons report after failing to make contact with him. An investigation into his death is still ongoing, but members of Jackson's family told investigators that they believe chronic alcoholism and effects of concussions could have led to his untimely death. Jackson retired in 2016, ending a 12-year career in the NFL playing for the San Diego Chargers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 57 career touchdowns. After he retired, Jackson focused on his real estate company and owned several restaurants. Vincent Jackson was a dedicated father, husband, and entrepreneur who spent his retirement helping people in his community. SUTV sends our condolences to the Jackson family. In just over a week, Shippensburg University will see the long-awaited return of Raiders athletics. With the PSAC allowing sports to compete this spring, teams are getting back in the gyms to get ready for the season. Due to the recent snowstorms, outdoor sports have had to modify their practices and move inside Higas Fieldhouse for the time being. Softball will be the first team to return with a doubleheader at Seton Hall on the 27th. Softball will also be the first team to play in Shippensburg with a doubleheader against the Bloomsburg Huskies on March 5th. SUTV will be here to give you all the Ship scores and highlights this semester. Last week, the PSAC announced the preseason coaches polls for lacrosse and baseball. This week, softball takes the spotlight. Softball scaled down from 3 divisions to 2 this season, bringing Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, and Mansfield to join the Raiders and the rest of the East Division. The Raiders have 16 players returning this year. Out of the 25 on the roster, 16 have freshman athletic eligibility. In 2020, the Raiders went 10-4 on the season, with all 14 games being played on the road or at a neutral site. The Raiders also led the PSAC in doubles, triples, and runs scored before the season was cut short. As for this season, the schedule is made up of 8 weekend home and away series, with one school playing a doubleheader Friday, while the other school plays a doubleheader on Saturday. In total, the Raiders plan on playing 42 games this season, featuring 10 games against PSAC West schools. We'll be covering all of the PSAC action this season right here on SUTV News. Slippery Rock University is hosting a PASHI-wide esports tournament. The statewide games will feature popular games such as Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., and Counter-Strike. The tournament offers over $500 in prizes that will be mailed directly to the winners' houses. The first game will be played on Sunday, February 28th, with Mario Kart at the helm. For more information, head over to Slippery Rock Esports Twitter page at Slip Rock Esports. That's all for sports this week. Back to Brady at the desk.
Most of us have at one time or another wished we could leave our jobs behind and spend all day with dogs. One Minnesota man did just that, and he's not looking back. John Lauriston visits his dog sledding business.
On a clear, crisp winter morning,
good girls.
Commands like ha and G echo through the winter air.
Stay ha, blue ha, Misa ha, good girls.
For these Siberian Huskies, those words mean left and right, and it's all the encouragement they need during the dog days of winter.
As soon as I pull those snow hooks, pull the anchors, the quick release, we're off and running. You don't hear a sound out of them. All right,
Jack Christopher is the owner of Silent Run Adventures and the leader of this pack. He gave up a desk job for a sled.
I'd much rather do this.
And companionship.
Oh, we didn't forget you. I built my first dog team basically out of rescues. They're very friendly. They do great with people. Some of them are a bit shy.
Just not when they're ready to go.
Yeah, put her on the second spot there.
Jack now has 26 Siberians. Some weigh 80 pounds or more.
All right, hike. Go on, hike it up. Hop, hop.
Their strength and durability allow them to trek through Arctic conditions, though this team spends much of its time on Minnesota lakes, that many of them are named after.
The big guy laying over there is Takuchich. That's a Bondi Waters Lake. The #1 mushroom rule is always dogs first, so they always get watered and fed before I do.
Jack has plenty of help with that.
This is my guy Rocket. He is a rescue. I rescued him back in March.
Stephanie Dreyer is a self-proclaimed emotional support human for the dogs.
The bond that we're making, working together out on the sled, it's something else.
Hike!
12-year-old Frisco Hudak is also building that bond. Like Jack, he's starting to get involved in dog sled racing.
Probably my favorite is just getting to pet them and be with them. They're so friendly and nice.
The girls!
Proof that the phrase man's best friend applies, even on the frozen tundra.
I want them to see how much the dogs love what they're doing. They get very excited to go. They all want to go. When we're hooking up teams, we usually refer to that as picking teams in gym class.
In Monticello, John Lordson.
Go on, hike it up. Good dogs.
WCCO 4 News.
Certainly there are no rough days for them.
That's our broadcast for tonight. I'm Brady Fisher. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at SUTV News and check out our website at sutvnews.org. We will see you next week when we are back in the studio. Good night.